Welcome back. I'm David the Good. Today we're going to talk about 5 reasons why you should propagate your own plants. Big Nursery doesn't want you to know these amazing secrets. Number 1, you could save big money. See this fig tree right here? You know, when I first got into planting food forests and I got my first yard and I started planting fruit trees, I was kind of shocked. I mean, I could reason it out and say, okay, $20 or $25 or $30 for a tree, it's gonna pay for itself in a few years when it starts making fruit, if it doesn't die. But when I wanted to put in multiple trees, like I'm gonna put in a couple of peaches and a couple of apples and a couple of pears, and next thing I know, I got a few $100 bill. Whew, that kind of hurts. So, being on a limited budget, I started making friends with a couple that ran a nursery. And I learned how to propagate my own trees. So a tree like this, when it's little, right, you might spend $12.99 for a little fig tree in a pot like this. Or maybe you'll spend $19.99 for one that's, 4 to 6 feet. Or you might spend a little more and get one that's even bigger. You might spend $30 on a pear tree. You might spend $50 on a citrus tree. These things really add up. But when you discover how to not only start them from cuttings, but start them from seeds and learn to make your own rootstocks and graft on top of them, or just how to get a whole bunch of cuttings rooted at the same time, you start saving money like crazy. Your food forest project that might have cost $1,000, now it costs maybe 50 bucks in pots and dirt, or 100 bucks in pots and dirt and a little bit of rooting hormone. And you can start cuttings from all kinds of different things and seeds from all kinds of different things and grafts, and you've saved a ton of money, which takes us to number 2. Number 2, you can make money. I'm not gonna say you can make big money unless you start a gigantic nursery, but if you learn how to propagate plants well, even when I was a kid, I used to sell plants by the side of the road, and 50 cents a cup for impatiens and $1 a piece for tomatoes, it starts to add up. And if you get into doing fruit trees, particularly rare fruit trees, you could sell them on Etsy, you could sell them at the farmer's market. You start a collection of plants, or you just work out of the existing collection of plants that you have. You got something rare, something interesting, or if you're just a good salesman, you can make money on it. I wrote a little book on starting your own backyard plant nursery. And a guy that runs a nursery told me, I really wish you hadn't written that book, because it makes it too easy for people to do their own nurseries. But anyhow, I had a little backyard plant nursery and I sold at the farmers markets, and I had a lot of fun, brought my kids along, and we made an easy few $100 every time we went, and we had a great time. But that's the second thing. If you know how to propagate plants well, there's a lot of opportunity to make a bunch more plants, which you can then turn around and make a little extra cash for your homestead and buy more plants, obviously. Number 3, you can make new friends. Forget making money, forget saving money. Friends are where it's at. People, relationships, how wonderful to make friends. And a great way to make friends is to propagate a bunch of plants, right? You prune a mulberry tree, you start a whole bunch of cuttings, you put them in pots, and then every time you meet somebody or go to somebody's house, give them a tree, give them a plant. Friends of mine will tell you that they have randomly been gifted with trees. I'll do things like give a tree to the UPS man. What did it cost me? A few cents for a pot? Half my pots are recycled from other projects. I found a bunch of pots that somebody had thrown away in a ditch. I loaded them in the back of a friend's truck, brought them home. Got a load of dirt for like 60 bucks, and I've been potting in it for the last year. Start a bunch of little trees, give them away. Friends of ours had a baby. I brought a couple of fruit trees over, and she said, I always wanted to grow fruit trees, but now having this new house and having this baby, this is so amazing to be able to plant a fruit tree along with having a new baby in the world. So that's great. You can make friends. And it costs you very little, but it's a beautiful and wonderful gift. Nothing says I love you like the gift of a rare plant with a Latin name that nobody understands. Number 4, you can save old, rare, or sentimental varieties of plants. Let's say your grandpa had a mayhaw tree out front. Man, he grew those mayhaws, and your grandma would can them. But you've never seen any mayhaws like that before. They were just a really great mayhaw, a super mayhaw. You could go back to that old homestead, find that mayhaw, and propagate off it. You don't have to go to a nursery and buy some commercial version of mayhaw, some GMO mayhaw. No, you can go back and get Grandpa's mayhaw. Or you could get scion wood off of a persimmon. Beautiful old persimmon in the park. Man, that persimmon's been there 200 years. That is a historic persimmon. You start yourself a few little seedlings from Diospyros virginiana, the American one. You take some of those Japanese persimmon scion wood pieces and stick them on top of it. Once you know how to do these things, you can save stuff. You find a great pear or a great apple or a wonderful plant, an old variety, you could pretty much just look around and say, okay, I could probably divide that, or I could graft that, or I could air layer that, or I could start that from seeds, so on and so forth. You can save a piece of history and reproduce it, because most of your propagation methods, with the exception of seeds, are just cloning. You can make the exact same plant and bring it to your own house. Finally, this is for you plant geeks out there, for the people that are close to my heart, for the people who are not satisfied with normal day-to-day life, with a mundane existence purchasing other people's varieties. If you understand how plant propagation works, from saving seeds to starting rare varieties, you can make your own varieties of plants. This is my corn patch, which has been really beat by the high temperatures lately, and I'm totally gonna run the sprinkler on it after this video. But in this corn patch, I have 14 different varieties of corn, all being bred together, and I'm gonna select my own variety of corn out of it. I have corn in here from Danny at Deep South Homestead. I have corn that was sent to me by many different people, and a bunch of different varieties I bought from various seed companies, and I had all these different types of corn in my fridge. I selected all the grain corn varieties that I was interested in, jumbled them together, and interplanted them all in this crazy mix of genetics, which I can then spend years picking the threads out of and developing my own type. David the Good Corn, soon to be available, maybe in a decade. That sort of thing is a lot of fun. I have started peach pits, had my own varieties of peaches, which I could then take and graft onto seedling rootstock and recreate the same variety again and again and again. Once you understand how to do that, the world of genetics is open to you, and it's very, very exciting. Just ask Joseph Lofthouse. He knows what he's talking about. If you haven't played with plant propagation, I highly recommend you get into it. There are so many different varieties and methods and things that you can do and money you can save and friends you can make. You should totally do it. And at this point, I want to sell you this incredible tool. This tool will allow you to... No, I feel like I should sell something right here. Oh, buy my book. Free Plants for Everyone. I totally didn't think of that before this video. It's an amazing book. You should totally buy it. I illustrated it. It's really cool. And it's been very popular with a lot of people that start their own plants. Free Plants for Everyone, the good guide to plant propagation. A lot of people were asking me, how do you do this? How do you do this? How do you do this? Well, this is a crash course, fun to read, easy way to learn how to do plant propagation. So if you're interested in that, and if you've watched my rambling this long through this video, I assume you are, check the book out. I will put a link below. Thank you all for watching. Catch you next time. And until then, may your thumbs always be green.